And, from a standpoint of playing man, it plays, really well coached, solid man to man, good ball pressure. And, they know our stuff. They played us more than anybody in the league over the last 7 years. They'll run some 1-3-1. They'll run some 2-3. They'll change defenses in the middle of possessions. They just do a nice job. They're keep you off balance and so they can bother you with that. Really, really good defensively. And now that they've got Ruffin, a young man that we had committed for about a week, and when he verbally committed to us, I think Coach went after him really hard and got him to stay home. And he's a terrific player. And Deshaun is, I like little guards, and he's really taken them, to another level, hard to guard, ball screens, and things like that. I think the kid, another guy they beat us on, Matthew Morrell, from Memphis, has made as much progress from freshman year to sophomore year as anybody in the league. An elite scorer, great shooter, competitor. And Brakefield is a kid that we recruited as well. So they got like 3 guys that said no to Auburn, and those 3. And then I think Nasir Brooks, one of the oldest players in all college basketball. He makes a huge difference. He's a legit 7 foot, and he's a factor at the rim. Ole Miss has got great wins over, Memphis and Dayton, and man, they scored 50-something points at halftime against Mississippi State the last time they played on their home floor. So probably could have, should have beaten Tennessee the week before. So, we got our hands full, and we'll have a couple of days of preparation here, starting in about an hour here at practice.
All right, our first question is from John with the Associated Press.
Hi, Bruce. I was going to try to squeeze in 2 if I could. One, you knew you had a talented roster coming in, but to gel and kind of play together like they have with so many kind of guys who could be stars in a lot of programs, how well have they done at that?
I think they've done well so far. They came in, they competed. They came in, kind of got to know each other, became really good friends, respected each other's games. And, as the season progresses, if we continue to place, winning first ahead of individual numbers and things like that, and keep sharing it and keep trying to get better defensively, we got a chance to continue to get better while we're winning.
And on Jabari Smith, has he exceeded even kind of your expectations for so far?
Yeah, his maturity, his toughness, his competitiveness. I knew he was a great jump shooter. I just didn't know he was going to be the best jump shooter I ever coached. He wants to get better. I don't think any level of success is going to change him. He takes coaching when he doesn't do something and we call him out on it. He'll get to the next play and try to improve on it. So yeah, he has absolutely exceeded my expectations.
All right. Next question from Philip Marshall.
Bruce, also about Jabari. When did you kind of become aware of him, and how'd you get him to come to Auburn?
Well, he's right down the road. Sandy Creek High School, door to door from my house, probably about an hour and 15 minutes or so. And so Ira Bowman and I, we made that trip a few times. Watched him work out early mornings with his high school coach, who, by the way, is an Auburn graduate, and that didn't hurt. Honestly, everybody knew about Jabari. Everybody knew Jabari's dad was a great player at LSU and a tough guy. We had Jabari come in, I think, his sophomore, junior year. And he came to one of our bigger home games, saw the environment, and was immediately impressed with the jungle. And then the second thing was that he truly was undecided. In other words, his dad went to LSU and he liked LSU, but that wasn't a done deal. Tennessee had done a great job, like we had done a good job recruiting him. But because he was involved with 3 or 4 SEC teams, I said, look, he really is open. And we are the closest to his doorstep. And I think his dad believed that we would be a great program for him. I think the success of some of those players from Georgia, like Chumo Kiki and Isaac Okoro, had a lot to do with their making the decision to come to Auburn.
Thanks.
Right, Jordan Hill.
Bruce, you mentioned Brooks for Ole Miss. He's one of the conference's leading rebounders right now. Just what stands out about his game and how important is it going to be limiting him and those second chance opportunities?
Yeah, he's an outstanding defender. He moves really well for a 7-foot man. He understands defensive concepts. He's been well coached. And so he's good in ball screen defense. He's good in post defense. He's good getting out of ball screens and getting to the rim, putting a lot of pressure on the rim. He's so big, they can throw it up there to him. And our bigs like to impact ball screens. So we got to account for him and those shooters in the corners, which make it difficult because he's, such a big target. And he gets his own really well. And they got guys that can get downhill and you come up those guards and he cleans everything up on the backside, kind of like a Dylan Page or Walker Kessler does for us. So he's a handful.
Right, next question from Tom Green.
Hey, Bruce, I know a lot was made the other night of the games from Jabari and Wen and even Dylan. But Katie Johnson, just from the opening tip and then, kind of just filling the stat sheet throughout the game and his energy, has he been about as advertised from when you recruited him this offseason?
You took KD?
Yeah.
I loved KD first. One of the first guys when he was a sophomore, saw him in AAU ball, offered him. I think we may have been his first time major offer, and really loved his competitiveness, his explosiveness, his speed, his quickness. And then when we signed Sharif, I think that was probably that was sort of a big thing because at that point he was more of a point guard. He was ball was always in his hands. And so I've always really liked him. And then, coming here, I think the fact that he is very explosive, and he is so capable of making plays on both sides of the ball is that what makes him both dangerous and at times elite. He's on a team as all of our guys are, with more talent and more pieces than they've been on before. That's why this team has the record it does right now, because it's a deep team. So therefore, there's a fine line between being aggressive and being a great teammate. And that's what they're all trying to find, that balance.
Right, question from Bill Cameron.
Yeah, to sort of go off what you just said, Bruce, there about the depth. And then John's first question, to have 4 transfers and Jabari playing such a big role and so many players contributing, it's been amazing to watch the chemistry. And one of the questions I get a lot on the show is, how does he do it? How is Auburn having better success than some others that don't have as many different transfers? So I guess my question is, how do you do it? And how impressed have you been with the chemistry and commitment to team?
I think it's all about the kids. It's all about the way they've bought into each other and respected each other. Some of the returning players who were dominating players a year ago, Alan Flanagan, with the injury, he's come back and he's fitting in. He's not trying to dominate immediately when he was our most dominant player a year ago. He's going to continue to do a little bit more here and there and continue to be productive and be a great player for us. But he's bought into that. Jalen Williams and Devin Cambridge were dominant players for us last year, and now they're not playing as much, but they're still really important players. They're understanding Jalen is behind Jabari Smith. Devin has started at times, but now that Al's back, he's now coming off the bench, not playing as much, but still playing an important role. Their buy-in to that is as key as just anybody and everybody. And it's like the old adage, you kids can come in all day long and complain, Coach, I'm not getting enough playing time and I'm not getting enough shots. And then my answer to them, okay, who on this team would you like to play less so you can play more? And who should get fewer shots so you could get more? And I don't think anybody's going to come in and say, well, I should play more than this guy, because they're bought in.
Question from Justin Hokanson.
Hey, Bruce. I know you don't want to talk about officiating, so I'm not trying to get you to comment on that, but you look at Walker in these last two games. Is there something, is it just unfortunate circumstances? Are guys attacking him differently? What's kind of happened these last two games, do you think?
Obviously, when you look at Walker as one of the best defensive players in the league, because of he's one of the best shot blockers in the country, the game plan will be to try to go at him and get him in foul trouble. So they're going at him. And verticality is verticality, and hopefully he can continue to be vertical, and they're going to keep going at him, and he's going to continue to be vertical and block shots, and not much more I can say.
All right, next question from Bennett Durando.
Hey, Bruce. Yeah, Ole Miss. What have they sort of looked like without Joyner these last couple games to you? Is there anything that stands out in terms of how they're coaching?
The biggest standout is it means more Ruffin, it means more Morrell, it means more Nasir, it just means more of some of the other guys. They've got guys. It just means it just puts a little bit more on those other guys. It'd be like us not having Al. It just means a little bit more from everybody else.
Mark Murphy.
Yeah, Bruce, anything in particular you'd like to see you guys get better at in Saturday's game compared to recent games?
We've always struggled with Ole Miss. They've done a great job of guarding us, and we got to always look to try to do a better job of executing our half-court offense and cut down on our turnovers and mix in the fast break and the tempo, with and freedom, with good shots and valuing possessions. And then on the defensive end, keep our effort and energy up. We won the last game against Alabama because of our defense. Not giving them second chance points. Those were the things that we were able to count on down the stretch. And that's what you have to do when you play against really good teams.
All right, we'll have two more questions left. Nevias Wilburn.
BP, how's it going, man?
Nevias, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Glad to be here. Hokinson's question about Walker, I'll kind of flip it another way. What does it do to your defense when he's not in there for long stretches? And how do you recover from that?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what Dylan Cardwell is his coming behind him was so vital. That's why the last two games when Walker's been in foul trouble, Dylan's been terrific. And Jabari Smith even said it. Jabari Smith said after the Alabama game, Dylan Cardwell was our most important player out there on the floor. Because he played such good defense and made so many stops and stepped up when Walker was in foul trouble. So it's got to be a next man up mentality.
All right, last question from Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, you said it there in the opening, but Ole Miss has played you guys as well as anybody. Just from your perspective, it's a simple question: like, what is it about Kermit and his teams, and what were they giving you so hard of a time with?
Well, Kermit's done a great job. I think that the first 6 times I played Kermit, I was at Tennessee and Auburn, and we did well. But they were always close games, competitive games. It started the first loss, I think, was an Auburn team lost in Nashville in overtime on a neutral site. From that point, he's done a really good job against us. And so but we got a chance to play him again on Saturday, and hopefully we'll do better.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.